Oops, wrong button. My bad. Um, Sorry. Anyway, if you're watching this on the second channel, we're live right now. Probably, I mean, I could be live when this goes up, but I'm streaming every day, rest of the year. So, come by, say hi. Obviously, we got the Dead by Daylight killer Tierlist here. By the way, it's twitch.tv/birthroad, BURR, and Throde. Anyway, we got the killer tier list here. We're gonna do this real quick, and then we're going to go start our depth challenge, which I'm not going to make into a video. So if you want to see it, come check out the streams. Anyway, let's get started. We're gonna go with Trapper. This is obviously gonna be based off ability and power. Oh, my mic's a little far back. Hopefully, move it up here. That should help. We're gonna be going off of ability and perks. Obviously, it's gonna mainly be the ability, and Trapper honestly is gonna be D tier. I don't feel like he's that useful. He is decent at pressuring one part of the map, but not only is he detrimental to himself potentially, his perks aren't all that great. They're not bad, but they're not that great. And his ability is very easy to counter if you've played the game before. Next we have Wraith. Again, his only decent perk is Lightborn. I'm honestly also going to put him D tier. I think some people may have him higher, but in my opinion, once you play the game for a little bit, even like literally a little bit, if you've played against him about maybe 5 times, you kind of see what he looks like when he's invisible, and you kind of learn how to play against him. So I think pretty easily countered, at least at this stage in the game. Next we have Hillbilly, and with Hillbilly, I think he's pretty strong. His perks are decent too. Like with Tinker being, pretty valid. Oh, I just don't know if I want to put him A tier or B tier. I think I'm gonna put him A tier because just the map traversal is insane. Yeah, it's just crazy. And I don't want to talk about the perks too much because I do plan on doing a perk one as well eventually, not only on stream but for the second channel as well. So next up, we have the Nurse. Nurse is easily S tier, but I kind of hesitate to put her S tier. And the reason why is because I don't like when people base killers just like purely off of their highest skill point, because the Nurse is very hard to learn. But in my opinion, she's not that difficult. When I played the Nurse, now am I like a great Nurse who can win against anybody? Absolutely not. But I can hold my own as a Nurse in probably not the iridescent lobbies, but probably one right before. I don't remember all the ranks now, because I'm a rank 1 kind of guy. But I have been playing. I just keep forgetting the orders of those. So yeah, I don't know if I'd be able to hang in like an iridescent 1 lobby, but I think with my limited time on Nurse, I am pretty solid. So I don't think she's as hard as people say. This is the only reason I'm keeping her an S. Obviously, her teleporting is super strong, and she can traverse the map very well, but she is a little bit difficult. All right, next we have Michael Myers, which I think people will disagree. I am going to put him C tier. The reason why is not purely because of his ability, but it's really just the add-ons. I mean, it's so easy to get Tombstone Piece, Tough to Hair, and just because of how many blood points they've been giving out recently, if you really want to be an asshole on Michael, it's really easily done right now. So I'm gonna put him C tier just because his add-ons are still ridiculous. His perks are still solid as well. His ability is semi easily. It can be countered. All right, that's what I'm trying to say. But I'm gonna put him C tier. I think he's definitely better than Trapper and Wraith. All right, next we have the Hag. Honestly, the Hag is really tough for me because I can't tell you the last time I played against a good Hag. I've played against some Hags recently, but none of them have been good. Her perks are okay. This is tough. This is tough for me. Gosh, I'm really not sure. Where could the Hag go? Hmm. I want to put the Hag C tier right above Michael Myers. I think her use can be a little bit more, especially on like dark maps, but I feel like on indoor maps it's pretty easy to see her traps and wipe them away. So yeah, I think I'm just gonna put her at C tier. I don't think she's all that crazy. Then again, like I said, I haven't gone against a good one in a very long time. So, if I could go against one and kind of see how they work, then maybe. But from my experience, I don't think she's that great. Next we have the Doctor. I feel like the Doctor is a perfect mid-tier character because the Doctor is so easy to learn, and it is kind of hard for newer players or lower ranked players to counter the Doctor. So I think he's kind of mid-tier for that because in a high rank, the Doctor is not all too strong because he really has nothing other than the shock. But that's all you need in those lower rank lobbies. So in my opinion, he's super easy as well. So I think he goes in the mid tier just because if you go against bad people, he's going to be really good. If you go against good people, he's going to be really bad. So that's kind of, that just makes mid, you know? It just depends on your skill level. All right, next we have the Huntress, who uh is definitely A tier. I'm probably going to put her behind Hillbilly. In my opinion, I, I just don't really like range killers. I don't think they're all that powerful, to be honest. Especially the Huntress, but the Huntress has the most potential, I guess should be the word. She's semi-difficult to learn, not anything too crazy. But yeah, I'm not the biggest fan of range killers. Her perks are obviously ass. This is just purely off of her ability. But she can hit anyone from anywhere. And if you've ever gone against a really good Huntress, like a really good Huntress, you know you can be hit from anywhere. So yeah, that's why she'll go A tier. She's also, like I said, kind of easy to learn, but like to hit the high skill potential, you got to be really good. All right, next we have Bubba. Bubba as well, I think, is also gonna go A tier. I'll probably put behind the Huntress. I just think having a one-shot capability like Bubba, and they made his movement easier, if I'm not mistaken, is a little crazy. His perks as well are super strong, which is kind of why I lean towards up here rather than B tier. Again, very similar to the Doctor. The higher you go, the worse he gets. But I'm telling you, if you've never played Killer and you get Bubba, you're getting a 4K like 10 games in a row. Like it's gonna be so easy for you. So yeah, I think Bubba deserves A tier. It's mainly the perks pushing him up there, in my opinion. Freddy, as a semi Freddy main myself, I stopped ever since I started playing on PC because I didn't want to buy him again. Obviously now they have the cross progression, but I still haven't played him that much because I found a new character I really enjoyed. But Freddy, he's still bad. He's still bad even with the changes. He's not good. Yeah, there's just I don't know. I don't know why it's so difficult to make Freddy good. He's just so easy to stop. I kind of wish the singing didn't exist. Like when you're in the dream world, like you just had no idea he was coming. Like that would actually make him decently strong. But being in the dream world doesn't really affect you, other than he can use his powers on you, which then is also stupid because when you're not in the dream world, he can't use his powers on me. Like it's stupid. So yeah, I'm gonna go. Yeah, he ain't that good. The pig. If you have ever, which the chances are low because I rarely make Dead by Daylight content, at least like on my channel and stuff. But if you have ever watched any of my videos, you know how much I hate the pig. Not because the pig's good, and it's definitely not my least favorite killer to go against. But I swear every single pig player is a tunneler. Every single pig player will tunnel you no matter what, bro. So, uh, I do think the pig is really bad. I'd honestly, I'd put her under Freddy. I think she has no other use. She has no use, honestly. And I think it is hard to win if you don't tunnel. That's why most pigs do tunnel, but it sucks. I hate going against a pig because they always tunnel, and it is terrible. Whether it happens to me or not, they always do it. All right, next we have the Clown. Clown, I think, as well, is a B tier. I'd probably put above the Doctor because I think a good Clown can go a little bit farther than a Doctor, and the Clown's perks are decent. But I think what makes him so, I guess, mid, because B tier is going to be mid. I guess what makes him so mid is that he doesn't do too much. He has, what, a speed up and a slowdown, right? I believe, unless he has something else that I can't remember. But the clowns I played against recently, that's all I've seen. So he either speeds up, which you can use to your advantage as well if you're able to loop correctly, and he has a slowdown, which it can be a little bit difficult to deal with that, but if you know you're going against a clown, you can kind of mentally prepare and map out your routes you want to take. If he throws a bottle one way, you could go the other way and be fine. So if you're a very skilled survivor, the clown's not very good, but the clown can go a little bit higher than the doctor in terms of skill, in my opinion. And I believe his perks are better, so he's going to go above the doctor. Next, I have the spirit. I do not care what anyone says. This is the absolute worst killer to go against. I really, like I said, I really don't care. You're gonna argue, oh, Spirit could be here. I don't care. In my opinion, the Spirit is the best killer in the game because I'm practically a survivor main. I do play killer from time to time. I'm practically a survivor main, and I just cannot. I cannot defeat the Spirit. I don't know why. I cannot. I've been rank 1 multiple times, and the Spirit is my arch enemy. I can't do it. So I get it, other people's standpoints, and I get the logical reasoning behind why she would not be number 1, but in my mind she's number 1 because I just can't beat her. Okay, I cannot beat her. So I don't care what anyone says. She's number 1 in my mind because she's so hard to go against. All right, next is the Legion. In my opinion, Legion is going to be D tier. But I'm going to put him at the top of D tier, put them at the top of D tier because at the end of the day, the Legion gets knowledge constantly. The only problem with Legion is it's almost like Slug or nothing because they get up and they don't need a heal or anything. They can just go do a gen and then you use your ability and then you have to hit 4 people. You kind of have to slug, and slugging's kind of hard right now. I feel like a slugging meta is not very good, and it's getting nerfed even more. So she's probably or they're because it's 4 different people. They're probably going to be even worse. Right now, I'd put them top of D because if anything, they have good movement and they have good knowledge, but I still don't think they're that strong. And they have good perks, but not really for them. Next, we have the Plague. Honestly, the Plague go top of C tier. I feel like so many people, like if you never played against the Plague, you kind of don't know what to do and you end up throwing. But literally, if you just think about the Plague for 1 second, like what their abilities do, or just read what the Plague does, you can kind of figure out how to counter it. Now, at the same time, a good Plague can still dominate. So that's why I put it at C tier because it still has the potential to do really good against good people. But if you read how the Plague works, 90% of Plagues are going to struggle against you. I really don't think she's all that powerful. All right, next we have Ghostface, and Ghostface, in my opinion, is going to be. I'd probably put him B tier. Now, I think a lot of people would have him lower, and I honestly disagree after playing against a few Ghostfaces the last couple days, and they were pretty good. So, I'm not going to base it off how good they were, but it made me realize something. In most open maps, open scenarios, Ghostface isn't that bad. The problem is when you get on indoor maps and there's so many different windows and doorways and hallways that you might just be led straight into them and bam, there you go. You're done for. Like I remember we played against one on RPD and he would just pretty much patrol the middle because he knew there was 2 gens there and he would go to the gens that were kind of around the middle. And guess what? If he heard anything, saw anything, he'd just peek around a corner, boom, exposed, kill you down, you're dead. Right? So on indoor maps, very difficult to go against. Not only that, the thing to get him out of his power has always been broken. It never works properly. Oh, just have him in the middle of your screen, have him at the top of your screen, blah, blah, blah. Like all these different tips to help get him out of his power, and half the time it doesn't work. So his ability's kind of broken always, all the time. He's not super powerful though, because most of the time you can get away from it. It works. He has no traversal ability. So I just think, yeah, probably good mid tier character. All right, next we have Demogorgon, who maybe I'm too harsh on, or maybe I'm not harsh enough on. I'd put Demogorgon in C tier. I don't think he's all that powerful. I think for Demogorgon, honestly, pretty easy to dodge his shred. His portals can be powerful, but they can also be removed pretty easily. I have gone against a really good Demogorgon once, and it was a difficult game, but I'm still pretty sure we won. That was a very long time ago. There's not many good Demogorgon players, but yeah, very, very easy to get rid of his stuff. But he has great traversal. He has good movement as well. He can have good knowledge as well. His perks are okay. They're pretty solid, actually. Some of them are really solid, and then some of them are, eh. So yeah, I think that's a fair spot for him. All right, next we have the Oni. I haven't seen an Oni in forever. I honestly don't know if they changed them because I used to see Onis all the time, and now I don't. But I'm going to assume they didn't change him. I think he's going to go top of B tier. His perks kind of blow, but his ability, it's kind of strong. It has good movement. It one-shots, but I feel like it's very easy. Except there was a glitch. I believe it was a glitch. They'd call it a tech. I'm pretty sure it's a glitch. that the Oni could do like full 180s at a time. I believe there was a glitch. Hopefully that's fixed. If that's not fixed, he might need to go A tier, S tier. But there was a time where he had a glitch where he could spin around and still hit the one shots. And I don't believe he could do that anymore. So I think he's B tier just because it's kind of easy to dodge him. You hear him coming, you see him coming. So you just you got to do a simple mind game. And if you played the game long enough, you can probably mind game pretty well against him. Not to say he's not strong, and it does take a little luck, but that's why he's kind of mid tier, because it kind of takes luck on both sides. You have to win your mind game, and mind games can be 50-50, especially at a higher level. So that's why I think he'll go B tier. All right, next we have Slinger, Death Slinger. His perks are pretty solid, honestly. His ability, though, is not that great. I think I'd also put him B tier right behind Oni. Again, I don't think range killers are all that powerful, and he would classify as a range killer, and I don't think they're all that strong. So, for me, I'd probably put him in B tier. Just off of that, he's a very simple killer. He shoots reloads. You get it. So, yeah. Next, we have Pyramid Head, who maybe a lot of people don't agree with this. But I honestly think Pyramid Head's probably going to go top of B tier. I was really debating on putting him in A tier, but I think he's just going to go top of B tier because he doesn't do anything all too special other than just be really annoying, and that can harm games, obviously. He has the drag where he can drag like not holes, but wires through the ground, I guess. I don't know what to call them. And he doesn't slow down in that at all. Now, the movement is kind of janky on that. I've used it before, so I know you got to be a pretty good Pyramid Head to get everything lined up and still line up your shot and stuff. He can shoot through walls and stuff, which is pretty predictable to avoid, if you ask me. But a good Pyramid Head can still be pretty solid, but he doesn't have any overwhelming abilities. Like, he doesn't have movement. He doesn't really have knowledge abilities and stuff like that. And I mean, he has Trail of Torment, which is an insane perk. But yeah, he's probably just gonna go top of B tier. And the whole caging thing doesn't really matter. Caging doesn't really benefit Pyramid Head all that much, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah. All right, next we have Blight, who I am honestly probably gonna put top of A tier. Now I know a lot of people think, oh, he should be S tier, blah blah blah. I understand, but Blight is incredibly difficult to be good at. We played against a good Blight, shout out Vampire Toothy, once, and we lost a game in 30 seconds, 45 seconds. Like, a good Blight is actually impossible to defeat. By how many of those are you going to go against? Blight is so incredibly hard to learn, so incredibly hard to be good at. I'd say 99% of Blights I've faced have not been very good. They've been very easy to counter. A Blight is very predictable. That's the problem. Unless if you're a super insane Blight. Like, if you were insane at Blight, then he's absolutely the best character in the game. But I don't like to base it off that, because the best character also needs to be playable. If you think Blight's the best because he has the highest ceiling, I don't feel like that's fair, because how many people are going to reach that? Not a lot. Not a lot are going to reach that, honestly. Less than 1% of the killers will. Next to the Twins. Twins are okay. I don't think they're terrible, but I don't think they're all that great. I'd probably put the Twins... I'd probably put it right above Deathslinger. Now, I know some people probably have the Twins higher, and some would have them lower. So I think the Twins are kind of mid. Again, I feel like Twins have a pretty high skill ceiling. So similar to Blight, that's why they're going to move down a little bit for me, because they're kind of hard. But even at their highest potential, they're still not that great. So, I mean, they would probably be A tier if you're like a top Twins player, but just in general, Twins aren't all that powerful. But Victor, he's very good at traversing and stuff like that. Very good knowledge with the killer as well. So yeah, I just feel like Victor's a little easy to handle, especially if you're not going against a really good Twins player, which I don't think those exist, to be honest with you. That's why I think Twins are going to go B tier. Also, no really notable perks. All right, next we have the Trickster. I think the Trickster is going to go in D tier. He has some solid perks, but I think the problem with the Trickster is very easy to counter. Like, he's again a range killer, and all you have to do is just loop things that have like walls, whether they're long or short. You just can't let them hit you with the things. Now, a good trickster is not going to prioritize the ability, but at the same time, if you're not prioritizing the ability, he just becomes an M1 killer, and what makes him so special. So yeah, I'm not going to have him any higher. Next we have Nemo, Nemesis. Honestly I think Nemesis is top of C tier. He has really good perks, so I could see if you want to put him higher. Problem is his ability is kind of bad. I think you got to be really good to be good with it because it's so easy to dodge. Like being a survivor, every time I go against a Nemo, I'm like, oh, thank you. Like because I know they're not bad enough where it's like this is gonna be an easy game, but they're not good enough where I need to be worried. I'm never worried about going against a Nemo. I don't care how good they are. You can go against a Nemo and be fine. So that's why I think it's C tier. It doesn't really impose any threat on the survivors, but he's definitely not bad either, if that makes sense. All right, next we have Pinhead, who is another hard one for me to rank. He is sort of a range killer. I honestly think I'm gonna put him A tier, and I think that might surprise a lot of people. But he has good perks. I think his ability is actually pretty strong. The problem is, if you are a good player, you can counter it. But at the same time, if you're a good pyramid head, you can counter a good survivor. Loops don't really mean much if you kind of know what you're doing with your hook. So it's difficult. I feel like he is so situational. It all depends who you're going against. Because even in a rank 1 lobby, you could be going against people who know how to play against Pyramid Head and people who don't. Like, even if you're a rank 1 survivor, you're not guaranteed to be all that strong against a Pyramid Head just because they are very rare to come by. So I think Pyramid Head also has a little bit of a shock factor, I guess. So I think I'd put him A tier. He's pretty solid in my opinion. Next we have the Artist. Uh, hmm. Artist for me, I think is probably going to go top of B tier as well. I feel like there are a lot of mid killers, so clearly. I think she's going to go top of B just because she has range. Again, I'm not a big fan of the range killers, but I think hers is pretty solid. It gives a lot of information as well. And she can kind of 3 gen, which I'm not a big fan of. She can also shut down loops, but at the same time, if you're a pretty seasoned survivor, you can kind of figure out how to counter these things. And yeah, I think she's just a really solid informational killer. But the problem is, if you're going against good survivors, she's very easy to counter. I feel like a good survivor can counter an artist pretty easily because artist is a pretty popular character, and I think artist is, again, very easy to counter if you play against her a few times. All right, next we have the Onryo. This is another killer I hate playing against, but not because she's good. It's just like the phasing in and out is just kind of trippy sometimes, and I don't really like it. I'm gonna probably put her C tier though, just because she can get the ability to kill. She can teleport across the map, but again, if you just read her how she works, you can kind of go against her. The only reason I'm gonna have her above the plague is the phasing in and out. It can be kind of confusing when looping and stuff like that because you may not see her and stuff like that. So yeah, I'm gonna have her there. She's also very small. All right, next we have the Dredge. I really don't know how to feel about the Dredge, to be honest. Um, this is a tough one. The Dredge is also very hard. I think the Dredge for me is going to be a mid tier killer, probably behind the Artist. He can traverse across the map, teleport. He can place a teleport thing behind the teleport too. You can lock lockers and stuff like that. And I don't think he gets worse the higher you go. It's just all about how good he just pretty much becomes an M1 killer the higher you are in rank. Like, yes, he could teleport, but then once you get in chase against good players, it pretty much just becomes M1 because they kind of know how to play around the teleport back. So yeah, I'd probably put him mid tier. He's solid, but not anything great. Now Wesker, this is my new main. I love Wesker, and don't say anything because the state of Wesker mains right now is horrible, man. Every time I go against a Wesker, they're horrible. They're tunnelers. They're campers. Like, no, that's not me. I don't do that. I promise. So I hate to even have been on a Wesker main right now in 2025 because they've been horrible. But I really like Wesker. Obviously, this is going to be a little biased because this is my main. I pretty much main Wesker. I play Nemo every now and then, but pretty much just only play Wesker now. feel like he's so good in chase. He's so good at traversing the map. Honestly, I'm probably going to put Wesker A tier. I think his perks are solid too. And again, that's going to be very biased. You could take that one with a grain of salt. But I'm not like all these Wesker mains, okay? I know how to play him. I know how to play him. Next, we have the Knight. In my opinion, the second most annoying killer to go against. I don't care. I even watched a video earlier today on how to play against the Knight because me and my friends all have been tier 1, or sorry, iridescent 1, rank 1 survivors, whatever you want to call it. We've all been the top rank of survivors, and still, the Knight makes no sense on how to counter. Like, he's just so hard to go against. So for me, I feel like the Knight has got to go A tier. His perks are also solid. I would honestly put the Knight right behind Wesker because a Knight does end up becoming pretty much an M1 killer, but it doesn't matter. It's almost 2 killers chasing you at once, and on certain maps, it's ridiculous. The fact that things can go through walls and stuff, so dumb. So, yeah, I'm going to put him A tier. You know, if you disagree, I can sort of understand, but I would really love to know how to counter him. So if you know an actual way to counter him other than, oh, just keep running, because that doesn't work half the time, okay? Especially on the maps you're on. It's not a good solution. So, yeah, Knight's going to go A tier. Next we have Skull Merchant. Skull Merchant is probably most people's most annoying killer to go against. Not for me. She's definitely up there. She's probably top 5. But I feel like she's been nerfed so hard over and over and over again for a good reason. And I personally don't think she's that hard to go against because I do what most people don't do against the Skull Merchant, and it's how you beat the Skull Merchant, and it's just go for the drones the whole time. When we go against the Skull Merchant, I tell them get on gens, they can do chase or whatever. I am getting every single drone. Every time she places a drone, I go up to it, destroy it, and we win the game. So yeah, that's all you have to do, but a Skull Merchant can still be super annoying and super oppressive. So I'm going to probably put her right above Demogorgon, but again, I think she's been nerfed so much it's kind of easy. All right, next we have Singularity, who is a singularity in terms of even the killers, because he's kind of one of a kind. There's not really anyone like him. His playstyle is so weird. Obviously, with his cameras, his teleporting, his ability, and stuff like that. I think Singularity is incredibly difficult, and I don't even think the skill, like the highest Singularity player you could be would be the best killer. I still think that'd probably either be Blight or Nurse. So for me, I think the Singularity, I'd probably put right above Bubba. He's good information killer. Good. He's good. He's just so hard that like you don't go against a really good one ever. Like it's just not. That doesn't exist. It's tough. That's a tough one. Honestly, if you want to put that higher or lower, I could totally understand that one. That one is what I'd take with a grain of salt because this is the killer you're gonna play against the least. All right, next we have Xenomorph. In my opinion, another really annoying killer to go against. I think the Xenomorph is kind of difficult to go against, especially ran with certain perks. The Xenomorph can be quite annoying. So for me, I'd probably put the Xenomorph. I put it right above the Huntress, in my opinion. I think it's kind of hard to get her out of power. Obviously, you have the turrets, run to the turrets and stuff like that. But they can still destroy them, and pretty easily at that. So it doesn't slow them down all too much. So, yeah, a little bit difficult. You got to be a pretty good survivor to beat a Xenomorph, in my opinion. Next, we have Chucky. Chucky used to be super, super annoying, but not anymore. So, yeah. Hold up, I just received a text. Good, I'm gonna have someone joining me on DBD soon, so when we start the Adept Challenge, hopefully they'll be there eventually. But anyway, we have Chucky, small little shit. That's pretty much the best thing about him now. And he's kind of creepy in his power because whether he's near you or not, you hear footsteps. But I think he's B tier. I just don't think he's overly powerful. Probably put him right above Pyramid Head, but he can be a little bit confusing and deceptive because of how small he is. So yeah, I think that's very simple. Next we have the Unknown. This is honestly my favorite original killer, just lore-wise, design-wise. He's just sick. And even ability-wise, I think they really cooked with the Unknown. And I say that because he's super balanced. The reason the Unknown is going to go B tier, honestly, you could put him anywhere here. I think the Unknown is the most balanced killer. I think it's the best killer they've ever added. Licensed or not licensed. Best design, best lore, best ability, and the most balanced since coming out. Like, this guy has never been broken, and I love that. In a good way or a bad way. He's never been terrible, and he's never been super amazing. So, I like the Unknown at the top of B tier. I don't think anything's going to beat that, but at the same time, you want it exactly in the middle? Sure. I think he is just the perfect killer to add. Because, again, a good Unknown as well can dominate. So, it's a killer that can dominate, but then again, if you don't know what you're doing on Unknown, you're going to struggle a lot. So, it's just the perfect killer. So, if there was, I kind of am tempted to make a tier and just say perfect killer and put him there. But this is kind of based on each other. So, I'm going to leave him top of B. But he is the perfect killer in my mind, balance-wise. Next, we have Vecna. Vecna, I think, not only is very hard to learn, I also think he's sort of easy to counter. The only hard thing is if he uses the skeletons in a chase, because then you have to crouch and you might get fucked because of that. But that's the only thing. I don't even think the bubble is strong. I don't think his fly is that strong. I don't think the pallet lifting up is that strong. Pretty much just the flying skeletons. And he can only use that, what's the cooldown? Once every minute, every 30 seconds. So for me, I think he's going to go C tier. Probably right behind Nemo. Next we have Dracula, who I have played against a whopping one time. So this is probably going to be the worst take out of all. I played against Singularity more than I have Dracula. So this is probably going to be the worst out of all the takes, at least objectively, because I played against one and they sucked. So I'm just going off what their abilities are and how I think they can be used. And I think I'm going to put him mid tier as well. I think I'm going to put him right above the twins, because he has a lot of traversal, and he can do stuff while he's traversing. He can kick gens and check lockers and stuff like that. But that's pretty much all I know about him. I don't know enough to put him anywhere. So that one is, if you don't agree with that, that totally makes sense, because I've only played against one, ever. So it's kind of hard to go off that. All right, next we have the Houndmaster, which I haven't played enough against to learn the counters on. Like, obviously I know from watching videos and stuff, but the Houndmaster, I don't know. The dog seems pretty strong, but I feel like the Houndmaster, if you just stay in groups of 2, you'll be okay. Not only that, you just need to play around a pallet if you're not going to, because the dog latches on you and she's coming. You could still throw it on the pallet with the dog on you, if I'm not mistaken. So just do that and you're good. Again, I've only played against 2 of these. One was really good and one was really bad. So yeah, another one to take with a grain of salt. But I'd probably put the Houndmaster. I'd honestly. I'm going to put her bottom B. I haven't played enough to really put her in that lower tier yet. But I honestly think she'll go there. I don't think she's all that strong. I don't think she's all that powerful. So yeah, that's going to do it for the killer tier list. We'll do a survivor perk tier list and a killer perk tier list later. Obviously, for those watching on the YouTube, you'll see those eventually. For anyone who's in my stream right now, we're heading over to Dead by Daylight to start the Adept Challenge. If you want to see that, YouTube watchers, twitch.tv/birthroad is where I'll be doing that.